online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
It's going down for real.
Hey! Sorry, I just had to get hyped because this episode had me so hyped last night.
So much.
What's up, everyone? It's the AFTERBUZZ TV Originals After Show Season 2, Episode 22. It was the season finale, and things went down. I was going to cuss, and then I stopped myself. I am Tiona Hobson, filling in for Roxy Strider, who sadly is not here with us on the finale, but she sends her love and her blessings, and she wanted me to say Caroline forever, so drink. Also with me tonight is Katie Campbell.
Hello, you can find me on Twitter at Katie Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell.
Hi, I'm Donald Romaine. You can find me on Twitter at Tigris Hobbs. And it's so weird to be sitting on this side of the table. Even though it's my second time, but it's weird.
I know, right? Okay, so it was the finale. I don't even want to know what you guys thought. We're just going to dive right into it because so many things happened last night, okay? So we're going to start with the siblings because these kids just are never on the same page, but then they had a beautiful moment last night where they were kind of on the same page. So we find out that everyone's finding out what Klaus's plan is, which Klaus is like, hey guys, you don't have the right blood to make this go on. He's linked himself to Dahlia so that he will buy them more time, and then he daggers himself to knock them both out.
I love that he trusted Cammy with this information to get back to his siblings. Like, she was the one that was like, guys, you need Esther's blood. Well, and he trusted her. He's I'm going to go to sleep, and I trust Cammy.
Oh, I completely agree. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Right? But I just thought, we've been saying that Cammy's the voice of reason this whole time, and, you know, it was proven that she is, because she was Klaus's confidant, and she was able to talk to Elijah. She was able to help him carry out his plan, so it was smart. And also, there's that link there between Klaus and, well, I mean, we'll talk about what happened later, but there is a link there between Camille and Klaus.
There is something going on there. But what we realize is that they now have to figure out how to resurrect Esther, their mother, because I love how Freya just so nonchalantly, when Elijah gets to her out in the woods, is like, oh, we need Esther's blood, not yours. You're not the witch who she loved the most. And Freya's just like, I killed her. And I'm like, yeah, but no one's screaming at you, but you were screaming at Klaus for killing your father.
Right.
You both hated a parent. You both killed him.
You know what, though? I was surprised that she did kill her, because I didn't think she was
dead. I didn't know.
I didn't think she was dead either.
This whole time.
Those birds were on the floor, and then some flew up in the air. I really thought that she was alive. So that was shocking, but, you know, they found a way to bring her back anyway, so.
And wasn't Klaus going to burn the original body, like, episodes ago this season?
I think I remember something about that. When she was in other bodies tormenting people, he did want to destroy her original body. So good thing he didn't.
Right.
Because it turns out we need it.
Oh, yeah. But if he did burn the original body, would the ashes still have been left over? Oh, but they would have needed the blood, so it would have mattered. But the ashes would have made her alive. Because she was ashes anyways. That's how they turned her. So she was ashes anyways.
But what was he going to do with those ashes? Probably toss
send them out
in
to sea or something.
In the riverbank somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think he would have kept them.
I don't think he was going to keep those like he kept coals.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not at all. So we see that this is coming together a little bit, but we also see a little bit of, you know, the siblings aren't happy that Klaus is right. Elijah's very angry right now, and he's throwing a fit everywhere. And I don't think I've seen Elijah ever cross this line of madness towards his brother, because he's always the one sibling who's there supporting him through all the craziness that he does. Elijah is always on Klaus's side. He's like, you know what? He's angry. He's doing this. He's trying to prove a point. But tonight he was like, no, Klaus, you've gone too far. He's telling Rebekah, you know, at what end does this come? Because, you know, he killed Gia.
We're talking about that. Dang it. We're talking about that conversation that they had at the very end of the episode, right?
Well, I was talking about, like, even before he went off to Freya, he was kind of like...
mad.
He's angry.
Yeah, and
He's
even
really
in his dealings with Freya, he's still angry. Like, I felt the whole episode, he's just holding all this resentment towards Klaus and that he has to go through this plan Klaus's way.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to.
And not only him, like, he really was angry, but so was Rebekah. And she said, you know, we have to take a life. I love when she said we have to take a life, and I'm robbed of chances to create life because of Klaus. Like, she's done with it, too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that the funny part about this is that Elijah's been championing, like, the family the whole time. For centuries and centuries and centuries. He's always been for the family. But Klaus has only felt a strong love for the family. And so has Elijah, but also it's resulted in Klaus killing and hurting people that his family loves. Because to him, it's not that important. Because the only thing that really is important is family. Mm. And it's just sad that the thing that hurt the Klaus the most was Elijah finally giving up on him. And it took this much for that to happen. And I just thought, I don't want to say if the word's ironic, but the only time he felt it was when he himself lost something he loved, instead of his siblings losing something they love. And it's like you could finally see he got it for a second.
Yeah, it's almost selfish in a way, because all the other times it's been Rebekah who's been hurt, or Cole who's lost someone, and it's never been Elijah. And in this case, he lost two people, kind of, you know, because Haley's under a moon curse now, and Gia is dead. Did I say it right?
You got it.
Okay. I couldn't tell with Katie's face. And, you know, she's dead. So it's true. You know, there's that moment. And then we also have Freya on the other side of things, who's like, let's just kill Klaus since he's daggered right now. We kill Dahlia in the process. 2 birds, 1 stone. And, you know, Marcel's like, yo, homie, I'm over here. I'm a straight descendant of Klaus. I don't want to drop dead right now. And Freya's like, I'm sorry.
She said she didn't want to kill either one of them. And what's amazing to me is I was still on Freya's side during this whole thing. I was like, okay, I don't want her to kill him. But look how scared she is of Dahlia. And she feels like she's in a corner and she doesn't know what else to do. So, you know, she's like going into battle with herself. I don't want to do this, but I feel like I have to. I just feel really bad for her.
Okay, I'm going to say that I will admit that I've been wrong about Freya, apparently, because apparently she was just trying to get away from Dahlia this whole time. But I feel like I was still justified in having my doubts about her, and I didn't want to trust her. I didn't trust her until the end of this episode. When the credits started rolling, I was like, okay, Freya was actually a good seed. She's not out to screw over her siblings too much, even though she did have that moment where she wanted to kill Klaus just to get rid of Dahlia, which, I mean, I could understand that, like you said. But I will admit that I was wrong about Freya, and I'm sorry about that and all the trash that I talked about Freya this season.
But it's okay. It's reasonable to not trust her because she's in a desperate place. And when people are in a desperate place, they act chaotically, and you can't really understand what their motives are. And she's acting out of desperation, so you don't know. So it's okay. I forgive you. Because I really love Freya.
I know that's Team Freya over there, and I don't have Roxy to be by my side tonight.
It was just, I mean, if we're talking about just the Freya, I thought it was shocking that she was going to kill Klaus, but also at the same time, Klaus killed Michael because they had to. All the Michaelsons, like, when it comes down to it, it just, as long as it justifies, the means justify the end, you know, they'll do it. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Freya is scared, and she doesn't want to be, like, all their plans have completely failed. So if this is the last option, like, I would have done it too.
And the dagger's melting, and just means that Dahlia knew, like, oh, there's a chance of betrayal.
Oh, and the minute that it's melted and Dahlia wakes up, she's stronger than ever.
Oh my God.
So, like, this would be the only option, I felt like.
Mm-hmm. It definitely was her only option in her mind. So we have that going on, and then on the other side of town, because Marcel and Freya were looking for Cole's ashes, and Freya grabs that white oak stake, which that really pissed me off because now it's out and exposed, so it can get into the wrong hands, which it does. But we're going to talk about what Elijah and Rebekah are over deceiving Davina and tricking her, which, come on, Davina, you didn't feel like something was off.
I know.
Rebekah comes back in her normal body, which welcome back, Claire. We got to see Claire.
I was screaming Donald at the TV.
Oh my God, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, you even look, oh my God, I was so happy and then so angry at the end, but I was so happy to see her back. She just carries an air of essence that really adds to the show.
I love her so much.
Oh yeah, she holds herself in a very, very high manner, and I thought, like, it was just, and I wrote it right here, Davina's right, they tricked her. Because she came out and she like, the knees and all that stuff that they do, but she was right. I don't trust you. Well, right behind your back, Elijah's switching the ashes, so your feelings are correct.
Isn't it something weird though? Like Davina should have caught on or something, because Rebekah says something to her and then she turns around and walks out, and it's like, why are you walking away? You just got here. So she's obviously pulling her out for a reason.
Yeah.
Which I was like, come on, Davina.
I thought it would have been more interesting if they didn't show us Rebekah coming back in Claire Holt's body, and the first thing we saw was her showing up and then walking away, because then I wouldn't have known, like, is this real, is this not? And that's the only thing that I thought made it realistic, that she walked away. But also at the same time, if I was Davina, I would have thought, is this a trick? What's going on?
Yeah.
Why am I seeing Rebekah?
Right.
But she played right into it anyways, regardless if it was real or not.
What bothered me a little bit about this too was that Davina then, snaps Rebekah's knees and ends up snapping her neck, but Rebekah didn't try to attack her. Rebekah just asked her to use the spell to resurrect Esther instead of Cole.
Yeah.
And I can see that Davina's like, well, no, I don't want to do that, but that's all you had to say. You didn't have to go, like, snapping her neck and stuff. I felt like that was a little outwardly violent when we were having a peaceful conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is only the beginning with Davina, and it might get a little darker, worse.
Yusuf said, and I thought he was going to be Davina's guidance, but I actually think he's going to be the person that helps the Michelsons take her down in the end. But he said she could be the wickedest wicked one of them all.
If she doesn't walk the right line, she's going to end up being the wickedest of them all. Mark my words. I tweeted that line out as soon as I heard it last night, because I was like, this is what I'm saying about Davina having all this power. She has a grudge out. She holds grudges. She focuses her anger on one person and attacks. And I'm not saying that Klaus does not deserve her attacking him or anything like that, but there's the bigger picture. Remember in the beginning of the season when she was working hard to unlink Marcel and Josh from Klaus so that she could kill him, and then a boy got involved, and now her sole purpose in life is to bring him back instead? Like, I think that's kind of like janky. Like, why don't you get your people unhooked from him first and then go after Klaus?
I think it's because everything that they have done to her has appeared as self-serving on the Michelsons' part. And so, the first guy that she loved that Klaus killed, and then he's gone after Josh multiple times. He's killed Aiden, who's Josh's boyfriend. He didn't. Sorry. My bad. But also, here's just another example of the Michelsons taking something away from her when it wasn't theirs to take, because it served their benefit better. She could care less if Hope lives or dies, or any of them live or die, because she can bring back Cole and have nothing to do with it. But here again, they take her away.
Katie, go.
Here's what I'm wondering though, is like, if Davina didn't step up and take this regent, this leader, who would be okay in there without having this power go to their head? I mean, we heard Vincent say that his family is the long line of like wickedness, which I think is interesting, which I would love to see more, of his line. But who really could be up in this leader position and not have this power go to their head?
I mean, we didn't see much of her, but what was her name who got killed? Josephine seemed very, relaxed and well-mannered in it. I think that Vincent could have been a great regent leader. I know he comes from darkness, but I think that he's seen how that affects, and since he doesn't want to be a part of it, I don't think he would let it go to his head. But the thing with Davina is just, it still goes back to, I understand that they've screwed her over in numerous times, and that it always happens that way. But to not care whether Klaus lives or dies is to not care whether Josh or Marcel, just like Marcel tells her, if he dies, I die. So let's come together and help them out here so that we can solve this problem, and then together we'll figure out how to take them all down. And I like that Marcel said that, but then I was like, ooh, Marcel, are we going to have a season 1 war of like the father-son companionship all over again?
Because he said, if we survive this night, we're going to settle up. And they haven't settled up yet.
And Klaus said it was something about losing allies, and it showed Marcel.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to mention that someone tweeted this, actually, that the reason why Josephine wasn't as powerful and why the dark magic probably didn't get to her was because she didn't have the power of the unification of all 9 covens. So that is a new development. But I do think that Vincent would have been... I love Davina, I really do. But I do think Vincent would have been a better regent than her.
See, I don't know, because I'm believing him on his family being wicked, and even if he tried really hard not to let it go that far because he has the history, I think it would have just ended up there.
No, you're right.
I mean, I know he says his family was wicked, but we don't know to what extent, because Davina's coven tried to, sacrifice her. Davina has had a bunch of power before and used it against the witches. Yes, to save her own life, but that's just like, that was a selfish reason, just like Klaus has his selfish reasons. And I think that either way you spin it, we've seen her with all this power and the harm she can do, and just the anger that she had over all of this, and how she's like, I'm gonna get the wrath of all 9 covens to turn against him. And I'm just thinking, now you're abusing your power for personal gain. He didn't do anything to the other 9 covens that they now need to be involved in your war with him. That's more casualties that are just gonna end up coming down the line, and it's gonna be her fault for involving them in her war. Just like Gia, and all the other people, all the other vampires who Marcel lost, they're all a product of the war that Marcel brought them into, which was Klaus's problem to begin with.
But my only counter argument with that is that the biggest reason why they didn't want Davina to be regent was because they thought that she would side with the Michaelsons. They hate the Michaelsons, and they don't want them in town anyways.
But they're not actively going out and starting a war
because
with
they
them.
can't win. Because they can't win. And she said, who else has gone up against them? I have, and I've won.
But
they're terrified.
It's like what
I agree.
It's like what Dahlia said tonight. It's like Dahlia said, you brought vampires to a witch fight. Hello, witches are gonna win that fight. You just gotta twist your hand, and the vampires can't even do anything to you. So like, if they wanted to go against him, they could have, and they could have all come together for it.
Well, here's another thing too. She's really angry.
Oh, nah.
She's really angry about this Cole thing, but I still believe like there are multiple other ways to get him back. We can do this.
Yeah.
Right? So like she shouldn't get that mad. You
sound like Josh. That's gonna be that season 3, episode 1. Josh is gonna say those words.
Yeah.
But she's not gonna listen.
No, I don't think she's gonna listen to any of her vampire friends anymore, which Again, I do not blame Davina for her mindset on things, especially when it comes to the Michelson family, because she has been used and abused by them. But to go on the other end, like, she's trying to resurrect Cole, and she's saying, oh, I can't wait to see, it's going to be weird seeing you in your old body. And I'm just thinking, girl, what if him and his old body doesn't want you? What if he wakes up and doesn't remember what happened? What if something goes wrong and then you just wasted all this time and effort and the old Cole is back?
But you don't think his soul would remember her?
I think it could, but I also think that it could go the opposite way.
Well, Esther's soul, though, remembered everything.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do think that for what happened right now in the episode, it was very important to bring Esther back. And I think when we're looking at it on the outside of the world, it's very easy to say, like, it was worth it. But if I'm going from Davina's point of view, hell no.
Yeah.
I love the original Esther, and
sorry, I just totally jabbed you in the thigh. Yes, I agree.
You're fine. I love her so much, and she was annoying me with this whole like trying to make her family see it her way in this, in the beginning of the season. But I was like obsessed when she was coming out. I was like, yes, I miss her so much. She's really good in that role.
Oh yeah,
I loved her, and I mean, she didn't even say much this episode. She just kind of gets up and is quiet, and she gets chained away, and she's like, am I supposed to care right now? What's happening? But I do love that when we finally have the big face-off, when it's witch versus vampires, and that was one of the prettiest shots of this episode was
Beautiful.
them with Freya over here on the ground and Dahlia standing over her, and then you have all three of the Michelson siblings there with their mom, and it's just like, this is beautiful, this is gorgeous, this is the originals.
Claire Holt had to be there for that scene.
Yes.
She had to.
That's what I said. I was like, this is the originals last night. I was like, yes.
Like, this is the originals, and it was so great to see. And then we see this whole plan kind of turn on them, because Klaus is like, I got the white oak steak and you can only kill one of us, and Dahlia's like, ha ha ha.
You're thinking so small.
Yeah, and she like explodes it and makes it rain.
Yeah.
White oak steak. What?
It was a pretty little thing, though. It looked like it was snowing.
Here was my question as I was watching it. It was one steak that's supposed to take down one person, split into a bunch of particles. Shouldn't it not have the full strength of the one dagger to take down an original? Because now it's like that one is dispersed into a bunch of little pieces, but it still isn't all of it combined.
It would make you think that you could you could splinter the actual steak and make it multiple things. But also at the same time, the steak is so powerful that you couldn't pull it apart unless you were as powerful as Dahlia. So even if that was an option, I don't think that we would know if that was an option or not. But I thought it was an absolutely beautiful scene, and I don't know about you guys, but I got teary-eyed.
Oh, I did too.
When she hugged Dahlia and she killed her, and then she said, "Come on," and then they appeared in the field, I was like, just a wave of emotion. And it felt good to see Esther feel at peace and to see Dahlia feel at peace.
It was just so amazing to me that how Dahlia, nothing phases her except for this, and she was just like, I forgive you, without even a thought. I was just like, wow.
It's all she needed. But also I was like, did they have to die? But yeah, they had to die because Dahlia wouldn't have stopped to hear her out had they not. Because then it would have been about punishment. But then it was like, well, bringing it back to that element and saying like, I'm here with you, I'm sticking together with you, was so necessary. And I just thought it was amazing to finally see Esther care about her kids. Because that was the first time it was like you could see her, and she was like, I'm gonna willingly help, because not only do I care about my kids, but also I've wronged my sister. Like, I am the cause of all of this that's happening right now. And it's like the first time she took responsibility.
Yes, I love that. Like, she always was doing it for her kids, quote unquote, but she really, gave up the fact that, okay, they're vampires. I'm not going to, continue that mess right now. I am taking responsibility. I like that you said that, because it's really beautiful to see both of their characters end like that.
Oh, yeah. It helped solve everything for me. And it helped me, because I still feel bad for Dahlia. I can understand where she's coming from. And she even told Freya, she said, if you were trying to save me, there was no light to save. And so she was already far gone. She was already hurt. She had no one to love. She had nothing to do. And I think she even resented her sister for giving up her firstborn. Like, even making that deal, I think, was painful to Dahlia, because it was like, here you can make the effort to come and ask for my help, but you can't make the effort to come be with me or have a life together. And I think even that was even more so why she had to carry out the punishment, because she was still angry.
Yeah. And I mean, I love that Klaus is like, we needed Esther to be alive because we need the psychological warfare to hit home with Dahlia, because that's the only way that you're going to get someone like her to pay attention is to now have her sister there.
And thankfully he did, because if he didn't, they would have all choked on that ash and died, and so would have Freya, and that would have been the end of it. Yeah. So I guess in essence you could think like, oh, okay, well, Klaus's plans do always work out. But it was necessary for this scene. It was necessary for everything. It
was. I know I get a lot of flack because of how much I talk about Klaus, but I feel like there has to be someone on the panel who's going to bring up his side of things to make things more interesting. So, I mean, I do think that there are flaws in his plans. There's flaws in everyone's plans. And sometimes it takes a mixture of the plans and plum luck to get things to work out, because they weren't expecting Dahlia to explode the White Oak stake. They weren't expecting their mom to have to step in and actually show a moment of being a true parent, which is probably the first time these kids have had that in hundreds of years, you know? And it was just so great to see. I'm kind of sad because I'm like, wait, so both parents are for real dead this time?
So
They're orphans.
All of
now.
the parents, because he said we're orphans now. Michael's dead. Klaus's real father is dead. Esther's dead. Well, Dahlia's not a parent, but she is to Freya.
Yeah.
Dahlia's dead. They're orphans.
Yeah.
But I think that the only difference that we're going to see in Klaus next season is that his plans have been thought out but reckless, and not taking into consideration, for example, Elijah's feelings by killing Gia and making Haley susceptible to that curse. And I think come next season, though, his plans won't be so haphazard where he's putting his family's emotion into danger. And I hope that that's what we see, because that's what we should see, especially with such a defining moment for a character like Klaus to show emotion and to go talk to Camille. So that's what I think about Klaus. And I think that you should stand up for Klaus, and you should be somebody who is rooting for him, because like I said 2 episodes ago, I think, when Michael was here, is that the hardest thing about this show is that nobody's really, I mean, Klaus was wrong with some of the things he's done, but in essence, like, no one, and I've said essence so many times, I don't know why, but really nobody's wrong. No. Everybody is fighting for their own happiness, their own lives, and everything.
They all have a reason for what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. They all have, and a good enough reason, too. If you weren't in the situation and you heard what their reason was, you would say, oh, okay, that makes sense.
I 100% agree. I'm looking at the rest of all the stuff we still have to talk about. So I know we touched on Vincent a little bit, but I want to talk about him more because I love his character, and I really think that him and Camille had a great conversation tonight in the bar, where, you know, they were both
analyzing.
Yeah, that's the
think
word.
That's psychoanalyzing.
Psychology degrees.
They were both doing that psychology thing on each other. So it was really great to see them, to really dig deeper into it. And we did hear about his family, which, you know, hopefully we can dive more into next season. And we hear him say, like, even when he comes back and sees Davina doing that ritual at the end where she's, you know, taking her grudge and making it all the witches' grudges, and he's standing there like, man, what did I do? Like, I really need him to step up and be the parent to Davina now.
See, because here's the thing, he says he wants to get away from magic altogether, but why is he sticking around? Like, that's the question that we have to ask.
Oh,
he keeps coming around.
No, this is why he's sticking around, and this is why I thought so. Because he said, like, I don't want to be a part of it, I don't have to, I'm walking away. But he's sticking around because I feel like he feels a little bit of responsibility to make sure that, especially if his parents were wicked, and now he was asked to be regent, but now he's passed it on to a girl that he has trust in. Like, I bet and because he's that kind of person, where he feels the responsibility to make sure that Davina doesn't go down that path. And I wrote it, I think Vincent is going to be her guidance, whether she listens to him or not, and I don't think that she will. I think that's what his role will be in the next season, is kind of be like, what is it, with the king's confidant? What is that called? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the person,
the, like, right-hand man.
Yeah, the right-hand man.
But what
I don't know what that
the
means.
hand of the king, as Game of Thrones would say.
Hand of the king, yeah.
But what's interesting is that he actually does care, because if he didn't care, then he wouldn't be trying to make he wouldn't be trying to make it sure that everything's going to be okay. Like, he's still attached to this magic.
He is attached to it, and also given the fact that his wife did what she did, and even Sinclair was who she was, and that was right underneath his nose, and he was so close to that. I just, like, I think that he does want to make sure everything's okay.
Do you think we would see a wicked side of him? Like, if he, you know, doesn't stand up against Davina and tries to tell her to do the right thing,
but he goes
with her?
I don't
He did allude to it.
Yeah.
The possibility has been alluded to.
The possibility has been alluded to, but I think that he's going to be the one to get her back on the straight and narrow, or at least try to do that without going to the extremes. Because, I mean, since we've already seen him bad as Finn, we know that his family has been bad, so he needs to be the good thing. You know, he needs to be the rose that grows out of the cement.
Well, Davina needs it. It was Marcel, then it was Josh, and now it's Vincent. Yes. She needs it as a character.
She has to have someone to kind of
ground her.
Ground her.
She's so young. She's a girl.
And,
oh, shoot.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I got a cramp. It's okay. Keep going with the show.
Okay. And then you have her with Cole, who just kind of influenced her more in a dark arts kind of way instead of really taming her. Like, they fell in love through it, but
it was dangerous.
It was still it was a dangerous sort of love that they were experimenting with.
And that's always made me nervous. And the old Cole, I just never, ever trusted him whatsoever. And I think maybe the reason why I trusted the new Cole a little bit, most of the time not, was because he started falling for Davina, so then maybe some real came out of him. But I'm scared for him to come back because I feel like he's just reckless.
He is, but maybe his love for Davina has changed him, and also the fact that his own brother killed him. Finn is still in that necklace. We haven't seen anything about that, and to see his siblings come to his side and say that's all he wanted, maybe that will change him.
Okay. Sorry, Valencia Turner just wrote in the chat roll, Davina pushed Donald back. That was just some magic stuff going on.
I'm so sorry, Davina. I'm so sorry.
Oh, man, that was so funny. So, I mean, we have that going on, and then we also have, I want to talk about, who do I want to talk about next? Rebekah. You want to talk about Rebel? Let's talk about Rebel, because I loved Rebel.
And what Freya did for her.
Okay, so that is the point in the episode where I was like, okay, Freya. I'm not Team Freya. I'm just saying, all right, Freya, you cool. I'm going to back off you.
She just wants to be part of the family.
She just wants to be part of the family.
When they all four were standing there, how powerful was that image? Like, that, it was like, I didn't think I'd accept another person in the family so much. Like, I like Cole, you know, I like the family, but it doesn't compare to the originals from the Vampire Diaries.
They look like superheroes.
Yeah, and when Freya stood up there, it was like, I accept you. You guys are a powerful bunch, and I want to be part. You're like, you're in
with the cool kids.
Yeah.
But so we know that Rebekah's back in her body, and Marcel, you know, at the beginning of the episode was freaking out because she hadn't woken up yet, and he's telling her, you know, Klaus did this because he knows about my feelings for you, which I'm glad that it's twisted and messed up as it is. I'm glad Klaus finally pushed them to kind of confront their feelings, because it's something that Klaus didn't approve of in the past. And they have kind of teeter-tottered back and forth with since the show started. And they never, in this season especially, they've kind of been like, are they, aren't they? When will they, when won't they, kind of thing. And his plan kind of forced them into being like, I have feelings for you, and now we have to deal with that a little bit. And I thought it was great because they kissed and I got happy.
Oh, I go. No, you go.
But they kissed after she decided to go into this new
Which actually made me happy.
It makes me very angry, because who consulted Vincent? Why can't they just let his ex-wife, who is horrible, let her lay to rest? You know, like, if I was Vincent, that would be reason enough for me to leave. I don't want to see my ex-wife walk around who is evil in another person's body that's now a vampire, but it's now turned into a witch who's part of the Michelson. Who Davina, who I've, you know, promoted to regent, now is on a vengeance to go kill. No way! I think it's disrespect. And also because I love Claire Holt, and I love Eva Sinclair. I love this actress that's doing her. I think she's great. But in the realm of the actual show, I think it's a slap in the face to Vincent that they didn't even ask or consider him.
I think that he kind of doesn't care.
Parted ways. He's parted
ways with that. He's accepted it and moved on. And if this can give Rebekah a little bit of what she was hoping for, which is what Freya wanted her to have the option of, you know, you can go back into a body where you can have a child, you can live your life, grow old with someone, or you can go back into your vampire body. It's up to you. And I love that Rebekah came to the conclusion that I made a promise, because that's why I needed her to go back, because Davina put her on blast for that damn promise. And I'm like, Davina, she didn't have a choice in the matter. Davina, she still loves her brother. She's still going to do everything she can. But to kind of shut Davina up, it's like, I'm going back in this body. I'm doing what I promised my brother I would do for him. And then down the road, we'll see if I end up in this body or not. And they left it totally open for Claire Holt to come back.
You're so right. And I think maybe 4 to 6 episodes in the next season, Davina's going to get powerful, but I think that's what's going to calm her down, is that transition, and then we'll get back to Claire Holt after they've solved the problem. I think you're right.
Can she live a normal life, have kids, grow old, and then jump back in her body?
I hope so. Yeah, probably.
That's kind of...
I don't have that long, though. I can't watch her grow old and have a whole, unless they're gonna do a time jump or something, which a lot of shows are really big fans of lately. And I'd like to see a little bit of a time jump just to see Hope,
just to see Hope older,
or let her grow at an enormously fast pace that's not usual.
I don't want to see that. But I don't think we are. I think that was said in an article. I don't think we're going to see her grow too fast. I just don't want to see her grow too fast. It reminds me of, like, the Twilight thing and...
the Twilight baby, so they can't go down that
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, and then on the other side, we had, in the bar, we also had a clammy moment, which people are very torn about how they feel about this. I read a lot of tweets that were like, they're forcing this. This is BS. It's not right. If Roxy was here, she'd say, Caroline, drink. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest.
My heart's
gonna explode.
I agree. If you want to, just to clarify, Michael said his piece on Caroline, so it's not forced. This is the city. This is Sandbox. These are the toys, and I think that the fact that how can it be forced when Camille was the one that Klaus confided in. Camille was the one that convinced everybody else to believe in Klaus. Camille was the one to stick around and try and make things right, and she's showing Klaus that he has humanity. How can that be forced?
He has humanity, and he also sees strength in her because she is so strong. I love her character so much, and when she was talking to Vincent about it earlier, she's like, she has feelings for somebody, complicated feelings, and she thinks that it's possible that he has them for her too. And I was like screaming yes at the TV. He does. I was freaking out.
I love that she said, I have complicated feelings for a monster. Because, I think everyone has been in those situations where, the other person, it's like you have this weird, you're drawn to them in the very strange way because they're not good for you. They're not, like, the best for you or for life. They're horrible people, but you're still drawn to them in a strange way. And do you fight those feelings? Do you go for it? Is she the girl who can change him and make him a better person? She's also a psychologist. So in her mind, she wants to fix people. So you would be drawn to a guy with problems, with mental issues like Klaus, because you're like, I'm the girl who can fix it. That's
a good point. Is this love or a project?
Yes. And they've been setting this up since season 1 with Klaus and Camille. She's always been the one, even when he was compelling her to listen to him and divulging all his deepest, darkest secrets. It's like, clearly they have a connection. I don't know how I feel either way on it yet. I love when Klaus has someone, because I think that if he were to find someone to truly make him happy, then he would be a better person. And he needs to find someone, and I'm hoping that Hope could also be that person, because sometimes when you have a daughter as a guy, and this time Hope is now living with him. Hope wasn't living with him before, so now she's going to be living with him and staying with him, and he's going to be raising her. So maybe that can kind of soften him up too a little bit. I don't know.
I think that could be a little bit of both, because I definitely see Cammy as that for him, making him a better person. And he said to her tonight at one point that he was going to make it up to her. I just can't remember when.
I think that it's going to be interesting because in the end, we all want to see Klaus happy. We all want to see them at peace, but that's obviously not going to come until the series is complete. So it's I don't think. Oh man, I don't know what's going to happen, but I would like to see the effect that Camille would have on him, and I do think it's possible for him to change her. For her to change him. Again, though, he's in hybrid. He's going to live forever. He's got a child. That's just the ultimate. It's just like, I don't know if she fits in the world. And in the end, he's going to let her go because she needs to have a better life.
Which has raised a question that people have asked me before, like, will she stay human?
Because
dang it, I didn't even think about that.
Well, because if you think of it, if you think about Vampire Diaries, Elena was the human love interest, and then eventually she gets turned. So if Cammy and Klaus are actually going to go through with this, it even happened in Twilight. It's like you can only stay human for so long before the lifestyle of being with a vampire is too much, and it's too big of a risk for you to be human. You have to cross over.
I bet you Camille makes the decision herself against Klaus's wishes.
But she was just talking about tonight how why does she stay? Her family has a long line of history in here. Her family are like vampire hunters pretty much and stuff. Like, how do you go against your family?
I want to know more of the O'Connell family legacy. Like, I want more of that.
Oh, they could do a pre-episode of the O'Connell legacy, like flashback,
So,
like a whole,
so like
an informational episode,
like a whole other originals.
Yeah, you could have a spin-off if you want, like go all the way back to the O'Connells. But I guess
The
you can do that with everybody.
O'Connells.
The O'Connells. But I think that I guess the options are endless with her, and she's obviously been around long enough for 2 seasons where I don't think she's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah,
So.
I don't think so either.
None of the characters.
But sadly, Katie has
I just need to say, he remembered, like, all the moments with her, too. I can't.
I teared up when Klaus started saying that stuff. It was like to see someone who's so crazy angry all the time and really open up and be 100% real with her. I was like, wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful moment.
So beautiful.
It was great. What wasn't beautiful was when Marcel and Elijah had to, burn the bodies of their fallen soldiers, including Gia, who was only recognizable because of the violin that was on top of her.
Oh my god, I was so confused. I was like, are they burning Josephine? What's going on? That's what I thought. So it should have been more impactful.
No.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, it was Gia.
Yeah, right, so that was sad. So that was Elijah kind of saying bye to her. He also said something to Haley. Haley only had one scene this whole episode. We didn't even see the wolves at all in this final.
We didn't see a lot of things this episode, but it wasn't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So him and Haley in the woods. So he finds Haley because it's a full moon, and he's like, "I'm done with my brother. Never going back there." He's by himself. Haley's like, I need someone to be there. Don't let her be raised by your brother. You have to go back. And
she needed him. Like, my heart was exploding last night because all of the ships that I'm on board with were happening.
This is what I think. No way. I'm so sorry. I just don't want to see Elijah and Haley together because it just gives Elijah more of a stance on Klaus's own child, and it's only going to drive a bigger wedge, I think, between Klaus and Elijah.
But like Michael Narducci said, Elijah was there saying to Klaus, this could bring us together as a family in the very beginning of this whole show, and Klaus was like, I don't care about the unborn child. But Elijah cared.
He does care, but it's not his child. It's what he wants so badly. And Klaus was so mad at Jackson because he's just jealous. He's jealous by nature. So I don't know. But that's your ship, and I support your ship.
Thank you.
Just support her.
I'll support you.
But I did love also that Rebekah tells Elijah, don't act like you don't deserve happiness. You don't deserve Haley. If that's what you want, you should pursue it. But I just feel like it might be too little too late because Haley has, from the last episode we saw, she's fully trying to commit herself to Jackson right now. And I'm not even trying to be biased right now because everyone knows I'm Team Jaylee. But I'm not even to be biased. She's really trying to be loyal to the husband that she has, that has sacrificed his whole pack for her daughter that's not even his. Like, Jackson has done so much that he deserves her to actually try with him. Elijah had many chances and he didn't go through with it. So let Jaylee play out, and if it doesn't work out, then Elijah, you can swoop in and have her back.
And I get that because I really think that Jackson's so sweet to her, and I understand. I feel happy when I see their scenes. So like, I understand that. Maybe Elijah and Haley won't be together for a little bit.
But this is the thing though. How do you the experience that Haley and Jackson are having right now as wolves, I feel like is going to bring them closer. I just don't know how, but also I do, and I obviously I don't agree with this, but I do think that there's a possibility for Haley and Elijah to be together because once Haley is broken from this curse, there is no way Jackson and the wolves are going to be cool with Klaus. And that's the father of the child. So she's got to make a decision, her child or her pack. Yeah. And her child is her pack.
Mm-hmm. So, ooh, good point.
Yeah. All right, well, let's quickly get into some news and gossip real quick because I did look at that. So Michael Narducci did an interview with Entertainment Weekly, kind of a cap of what happened on the finale and what's to come, because it sounds like they're already in the writer's room. They've already mapped out season 3. So on the topic of Claire Holt returning, He said, I know that we are planning to use her in a very interesting flashback story that we have coming up. And I know we would love to have her at some point reclaim Rebekah's original body. But for right now, it feels very fun and natural for us to see Rebekah go off in a mortal body where she can have all the things that she wanted, going as far back as the Vampire Diaries, where she said she wanted to be human. So, Donald, the good news is that you will get Claire Holt next season in flashbacks.
Michael, you're killing me, Michael.
And we saw the.
You're right though. You're right.
Yeah, and we saw the new Rebekah drive off in a Suburban with a dead body in the back in the car. So we don't know if when we're gonna see her back because she was leaving town.
Well, we get the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
to be
so
honest,
we get
because both of them were great. I mean, obviously we love Claire Holt because she was the original, but I'm sure if it was switched, we would have more love for the other one anyway.
Yeah, and then he talks about Freya, and now that she's not attached to Dahlia anymore, like, who is she without that? And he says Freya too is a firstborn Michelson and might be just the person to help Hope figure out who she is and how to grow up and be a healthy person.
That makes total sense.
Doesn't that make so much sense?
Yeah.
And then there's talks about a new person arriving in town connected to Marcel in some way that like could reignite some fights and draw him closer to the Michelsons again. And I mean, they talk about Vincent and how we're going to learn more about his family.
I love it.
Next season in the dark past. So I mean, it's an Entertainment Weekly article. You guys should all go read it, check it out. Very quickly, one prediction each. Go.
My prediction is that Davina gets taken down by Vincent.
Taken down, like done.
No. Just put
like,
down a little bit. You know,
all right.
just put down a little bit.
Like, calm down.
Brought down too.
I'm thinking maybe he could go on her side somehow. Like at first he's
Evil.
Yeah. Somehow he's gonna like try to make her be better, but then it's not gonna work and he's gonna end up over there with her.
Okay, and my prediction is that Hope is gonna be raised in a healthy environment and that she's going to turn out the most normal out of all the Michelsons.
Ooh.
That's my prediction because I don't know what to predict because I just don't know anymore.
We've got all the way till next season.
Yeah,
so.
all the way until guys, I don't even know how to feel right now. Thank you to the fans so much for tuning into our show every week. We love you. You've stuck with us through thick and thin. We've had changes on our panel all season. You guys have been the best fans ever. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. Where can they talk to you guys all summer long when we're waiting for the show to come back for season 3?
You can find me on Twitter at Tigris Hobbs. I haven't been responding lately just because the shows are a day late, and you can find me on Instagram at Donald Romaine.
You can find me on Twitter at Katie EE Campbell. That's Katie with 3 E's Campbell. Instagram at Katie Campbell 13. And you can find me at youtube.com/Katie Campbell Online. I do a weekly vlog. Check it out.
And you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Tiona Hobson. Make sure you check out all of AfterBuzz TV shows at AfterBuzzTV.com. Also, thank you, Realist, for just putting this article in the chat roll that says Riley Vocal, who plays Freya, has been promoted to a series regular for season 3.
Yay.
So on that note, we love you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys in October or September.
Hey. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.